Enjoy life, buddy. There was a hawk setting in a tree. So we set the traps out. PG County police car rode up the street. My son said, "Dad, he get ready to come over here to us." He pulled in behind us and blocked us in. The guy said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I trap hawks, owls, falcons. I'm a falconer." His first comment was, "You're black."
Flame is lit, cork is dry. God himself can't deny. We all do things we shouldn't do. Hey, ain't gonna stop loving you. There'll be two.
All this is healing. All this is medicine. All this changes who you are.
I didn't even know I had this part of me until I came here.
We all do things.
You never know who's your next falconer, who's your next raptor rehabilitator, who's your next avian specialist. You never know. That connection of I'm taking care of something. That's a love that comes with it. You start to feel appreciated, and that can turn you around. It did for me.
Ain't gonna stop loving you.
Right? I mean, like, there's, I think Central Park and Prospect Park are bird sanctuaries, so it probably is the case, right? I mean, and Rodney, who is the subject of your film, he's in the city, right? He's in DC though, right?
He actually moved a couple years ago out to Charlotte Courthouse, Virginia, which is a few hours south of DC. And so he does fly his birds in DC parks very frequently. But he wanted to move out of the city and be able to get some land. He has a big sort of initiative that he's starting up there.
Yeah.
I can tell you about.
I wasn't clear. So the film takes place mostly, I mean, as he's trying to build that.
So the film actually takes place, I filmed it between 2013 and 2018 or so. And it takes place, it's actually DC government land, but it's in the state of Maryland near Laurel.
Right. Okay.
And so Rodney was trying to build this bird sanctuary there. He succeeded. But he actually, that was the nonprofit, the Earth Conservation Corps, who you saw in the film throughout. Rodney was working with them back in the 90s when they were cleaning up the tributary of the Anacostia River. So that organization is actually it was their land. And he sadly parted ways with them in January, I think probably COVID-related expenses, that kind of thing.
Right.
And so he decided, he's gonna basically build what he'd been working on with them on his own property so that he wouldn't be beholden to anybody else, and he can do what he wants. And he's currently working to rebuild all his aviaries, all the facilities on his own property out in Virginia.
I see. Very good. Well, we wish him luck, and a lot of luck. But I don't have a lot of doubt that he won't do that, because he's a very, I don't know, he seems to accomplish quite a bit, especially when it comes to his passion, which is falconing. And how did you first come in touch with Rodney? He is, I mean, if he was here, he could kind of talk about it himself, but did he grow up in the DC area? Is that what
Oh, and I see Rodney's joining right now.
Is that right? Well,
yes. Rodney, are you there?
Is he Zoom bombing us? Is Rodney? Yeah, there you go.
There it is.
There he is.
Get some light.
Hi, Rodney.
Thank you, man.
There we go.
Rodney, Annie had very little faith that you were going to make it. I don't want to put her on the spot. I apologize, Annie, but I said, he's coming.
Well, actually, I just walked in the house. I was out back cutting down trees and stuff. I just walked in the house and checked my phone. And I saw the message on there. So I looked at the time. I said, all right, well, I'll just jump on real quick. No problem.
That's the show. We're not, it's not CNN. We're okay with that. You know what I mean? How are you?
Blessed, brother, blessed. Can't complain.
I was actually just asking, can you give like a little bit of a little bit of your own origin story, like where you grew up and then how you ultimately found falconry? Because clearly as you are a master falconer, and yes. And your story is it's an inspiration. I mean, we could say kind of if it didn't save your life, falconry, it certainly elevated it a great deal, right? I mean, it made it kind of gave you your reason for being. If it's
well, not necessarily. I was working with a nonprofit that I grew up in Southeast DC in some of the worst neighborhoods you could ever think of. I mean, it was murders every day, robberies, drug addicts, everything. Mm-hmm. I started working with a nonprofit doing work with birds of prey. We brought back the bald eagles to DC, brought back the osprey under the South Capitol Street Bridge. I was working with raptors for at least 15 years before I became a falconer. I became a falconer because all of the birds that we worked with were injured birds, just like young people had records before they were 18 years old. So I started asking, why do we only have injured birds? Why can't we get birds that are flighted, that can be released, and start showing people that the same way that you stepped in to help that bird, you step in to help that young person, because 90% of the birds don't make it through their first winter. But 90% of young people don't make it through to 18 without a criminal record or a gunshot wound. So it was more of now having something that wasn't injured and being able to help it become an adult and release it the same way you would do with a young person. So it wasn't that falconry. I was always doing I've been doing raptor education for almost 28 years. I've been a falconer for 12 years.
What is a raptor? Can you explain to people who are maybe listening or watching what the raptor bird is?
Raptors are birds of prey, which mean they have 3 adaptations. They have a curved beak, binocular vision, and they catch everything with their feet. Storks eat mice and frogs and stuff. They catch it with their beak, so they wouldn't be considered a raptor. Raptors catch everything with their feet. That's what makes them a bird of prey.
Thank you. Annie, as Rodney talks about, he kind of toggles between the young folks that he has taught and led, you know, through these programs he's created, and the birds themselves, like, you know, the injured birds. There's like an incredible or remarkable kind of metaphor going on there. Is this something that you were thinking about intentionally, and how did you guys meet? I'm curious to know.
Yes, well, we met, my aunt actually met Rodney first at the Environmental Film Festival in the nation's capital, had a series of falconry shorts, I think back in March 2013, and Rodney was there with a bird, and my aunt got his card and gave it to me, and Rodney was nice enough to, I was in graduate school at the time, in film school, and I went to meet Rodney, and I was so interested in what he was doing, and Rodney was nice enough to, you know, give me a lot of time. So generous with his time, so patient. I filmed a lot of interviews and different things with Rodney, like as homework in my documentary directing class and things like that. And just over time, you know, filmed more and more. And everything sort of, at first it was going to be a short film, then, then eventually a feature. But yeah, I definitely think I was so excited to see all the different, it's not just young people for me that I think is so inspiring when Rodney's teaching. It's really all different ages of people. I focused in the film on cadets from the National Guard Academy, which is a group of young people like Rodney's talking about who had dropped out of high school and sort of needed some help to get back on track. But I just think whenever I would see anybody learning from Rodney and getting to touch a bird and getting to ask questions, the light would just go on in their eyes. And it didn't matter if they were 5 years old or 55 years old. It was just that magic, and that's what I really wanted to capture.
And you did. It's a good point. There's something that happens when Rodney, when you let's put that glove on a person, and there's something about your confidence and your warmth exuding, which makes people, it's kind of, I've had a falcon on. I went to a summer camp and we had somebody who was, I don't know if he was a falconer. I think he was, but anyway, we had a falcon there, and I did have it on and it's kind of like a intimidating experience, especially that first time. But you have a way, which I think Annie's film really captures, where you just give people a sense of, confidence or security about it, and make them feel like they're not such an abstract thing. We think of birds because, birds don't typically interact with people. So it's a still very unusual experience. It's one of the things I kind of took away from the documentary. It's called The Falconer. What did you make, Rodney, when Annie I don't know if this is how it happened, but when she proposed this idea of doing a documentary, because you've got a private life too. And this was kind of intruding on that.
I don't have a private life anymore. You would think so, though, but no, not anymore. Well, actually, it started, like Annie said, as a school project. It wasn't a documentary in the beginning. As more things that I was doing and Annie was filming, and year went on, and 2 years and 3, then we got to talking and stuff, and it became the full-length documentary that it is today. So when it started out, it was more of she was doing her school project, and I just wanted to help out. It wasn't really, at that time, I just became a falconer, maybe 2 years, 3 years. I think I was a general or just leaving an second year apprentice or something. And so it wasn't about a documentary. I explained to people, I don't do what I do for a documentary or a book to be written or any of that. I don't do it for publicity at all. I do it because it's healing. It heals me the same way I see it heal everybody else. Every one of us has some trauma we go through every single day. And we are hurting. All of us are, from something. And if you get a chance to just release it and let it go and go somewhere else for just that 5 seconds, your mind just go to the most beautiful place in the world because you got this bird sitting there on your hand, and it's a form of healing. So that's what I care more about. I tell people, I don't care if 50 million people, if I walk down the street and they say, that's Rodney, that's the bird, man, that's the guy. What difference did that make if my program is not running that continuously help people? I don't want people to know who I am. So that's him. Nah. If you know who I am, then I want you to say, that's Rodney, that's the guy running the program. How can I help him get this program going so that my son or daughter, their grades, can have something that we never had?
Well, you wrapped it up a whole lot better than I could before. I was trying to make that point, and you just said it far better than I could have, which was, the idea of healing, and that comes across also, it's this thing of healing. I guess it's the reason why a lot of people work with sick people too, because it can be very healing to do that for yourself. So it could be a very selfish, I think, on some level too. Annie, what was your experience like? Did you, with shooting, I know you probably didn't hold the camera, maybe you did at times, but what was that like, getting to know birds and filming them and as a filmmaker?
Yeah, I did film most of the film, not all of it, but because it started when I was in school, you know, I didn't have a budget or anything. I was mostly doing it by myself or having friends help. Birds are not easy to film, that's for sure.
What?
You know,
Rodney, what's wrong with?
No, I was laughing because everyone thinks that they're robots, that you can say, okay, fly the bird over here, fly the bird back. And that's what the bird is going to do. No, that bird has a personality of its own. Right. And if it doesn't feel like cooperating, it's not going to cooperate.
Understood. Good, Annie. I'm sorry. No, me, I'm sorry. I thought it was kind of funny thing, the idea of trying to film birds.
Yes.
But you didn't know what you're getting into.
It is interesting. I feel like when you're looking through a camera, you do have a little bit of a distance. And during the editing process, I worked with two fantastic editors. Both of them were so squeamish about and just didn't want to look at the footage of like the birds eating a mouse's head or, you know, things like that. And it never bothered me. And I think it's because I had the distance of looking through the camera and composing a beautiful shot. And then if you just see it afterwards, it's like, you know, people get really freaked out about it. So we kept that very minimal in the film.
No, I could see why. Animal, it's a quandary for passionate animal lovers, you know, seeing any kind of animal harmed or what have you. But you know, it's the circle of life. Someone once said, right? Ultimately, you know, Rodney. So are you clearing? You said were you removing a couple of trees? You said from your property.
Well, it's not a couple. I have about maybe 7,000 trees left. I have to remove. I'm clearing 3.5 acres. I started a sanctuary in Virginia called Dippy's Dream. Is named after my mom that passed away 6 years ago.
And we know during the film it happened, yeah.
So I'm actually in the process. I got a house down in Charlotte Courthouse, Virginia. I have 7 acres, so I'm building a sanctuary. I have horses here, the birds. I have goats and chickens and everything where people can come down and actually camp out for a weekend or something, help feed birds, help learn how to ride horses. I'll have a half an acre that's all gardening, so people can learn how to plant fruits and vegetables, and everything is free. So when you come down, if you take fruits and vegetables with you, then you plant some more for the next people. And it's all basically donation based. Whatever you can afford, that's what you donate. If you wanted to learn how to ride a horse, but you couldn't pay $1,000 to learn how to ride a horse, does that mean you don't deserve to know how to ride a horse? No, it just means you didn't have $1,000. You get up every morning, you go feed the homeless, you read to the elderly, you do all these things. However, financially, you just couldn't afford it. So did that mean you didn't deserve it? No. So if you had $100 and you wanted to learn how to ride, donate the $100 and you still get to learn how to ride the horse.
Well, how do you, when you're removing trees, are you potentially removing homes for birds?
Well, no, actually the trees that I'm cutting down are, the majority of them, I'd say 85% of them are maybe 2 to 3 years old. Every tree that's a nice sized tree that's been there for a while, I'm not going to remove them at all. So the little trees, so that you'll have room, because it's all wooded. So you have to clear out some of those trees in order to put your paddocks up for your horses and your pens and stuff up for your goats and stuff. And you need grass to grow. So if there are trees there, no grass will grow. So you have to clear out a certain amount of trees just so you can have grass alone to be able to feed your animals. So any tree that I see a nest in at all, even a little blue jay nest or anything, that tree stays. I will never take that tree down, no.
I was confident that was the case. That was for people who may be watching. I knew, of course.
Oh, no.
Oh, well, the name again of the documentary is called The Falconer, right? It's going to be at the Woods Hole Film Festival there's a screening, I jotted down on Wednesday, the 4th of August. Is that just the one?
There's one in-person screening, and then the film will also be available virtually for anybody all over. I think it's only in the US, but anywhere in the US people can watch.
Okay, very good. Well, by the way, some of the maybe some of the birds would enjoy the film festival because it's but there are ospreys and owls, right? I mean, when you're a falconer, you're dealing with, as you said, a bunch of different varieties of what you call raptors, right?
Right.
Right. And I'm so glad to know that the hook beak indicates that the bird is a falcon. Excuse me, a raptor.
No, all raptors have a hook beak.
Oh, but there are others that have a hook beak that are not raptors. But the raptors only with the beak, they only do their predating with their beak.
Right. What they do is all hawks and falcons catch everything with, well, all raptors catch everything with their feet. They rip the food apart with their beak.
Got you.
So
right.
they're
not their
right
talons or what have you. Right. Yeah. Okay.
Right. So falcons have a notch in their beak so that when they catch birds in the sky, they can stick their beak down in between the back of their neck and break their neck so that that bird can't turn around and start pecking them in the air and hurt them. Hawks, when they land on something, they start eating it while it's still alive. So everything catches with their feet, though. They have to grab it with their feet to be a raptor.
Interesting. Okay. Fascinating. Well, anybody who has any interest should really try to make a point. And I hope that the the documentary continues to play at festivals and people can get it. It's a great story. Rodney, you made a great subject for the documentary, and your birds, of course, they're very cinematic. And I wish you both a lot of success, and go ahead,
I'm sorry, I was going to tell you guys, check out I have a book that's coming out called Bird Brother in February. It's on.
How do you have the time? I don't get it. I can't. How do you have all this? How are you so freaking productive? I don't understand it. What is wrong with you? Or
I don't sleep. I just don't sleep, basically.
It's overrated, right? I mean, who needs?
Well, everyone should check out Rodney's website, which is rodneysraptors.webs.com.
Say it again.
rodneysraptors.webs.com. And all the information about his book will be there. If you want to get in touch or check out what he's doing out at Dippy's Dream, all the information you want is there.
Okay. And while we're at it, I know the Falconer has a website too.
That is true. It's the falconerfilm.com. So we have a watch page if you don't get a chance to watch it with whole, or if you do watch and then you want to share with friends and family, you can pass that along. And there's lots of opportunities for community screenings and online screenings, different things.
I really thank you both. I'm an animal lover. I include birds in that. And so I probably could have talked for a much longer time and had lots of questions, but I know you two have to get back to your days. So, but
thank you so much, Adam. It was great to talk to you.
Same here. Thank you. And thank you, Rodney.
Oh, no, thank you guys.
My pleasure. Okay, take care.